What's up? What's up? What's up? I hope you're enjoying these vlogs, man. I'm just giving insights to my worldviews, opinions on health, fatherhood, and so much, man. Not saying I'm right. I just think my perspective, being an experienced father, brilliant footballer, dad coach, I think I can offer some healthy experience and perspective on things. I want to talk about alcohol today. Alcohol, the killer drug. The killer drug. I don't know how it goes under the radar, right? As this like social substance, as this kind of like okay kind of devil in the room. I'm not even gonna call it elephant in the room. This devil in the room, right? There is so much we could talk about in regards to alcohol, but we're gonna talk about my journey, how it affected me, where that stemmed from, and I'm gonna just give you some advice and some insight to it, right? And how it may be affecting you and you don't even know, right? So first and foremost, my earliest memories of alcohol was my dad, right? My dad's Irish from County Armagh, really patriotic Irish dude, right? From my experience, that came with like a culture of drinking. We spent quite a bit of time in my early years in pubs in a place called Broad Green in Croydon, Irish pubs. Uh, I couldn't think of many instances that pop up to my memory that didn't involve my dad drinking, even though he did obviously not drink a lot, but most of my memories had him drinking in it, right? Um, this was fun. This was fun for a large part of my childhood. But as I became a teenager, I saw the holes in it. I saw the reality of it. I saw his health deteriorating. It affected me. I ran from a little bit. But I also kind of adopted some of his behaviors, you know, the drink culture, the way his relationship with drink, man. Uh, I picked it up. My dad went on to like have like a really bad like 10 years, I'd say, right? He tried to commit suicide as one of the things, right? That would I would say was one of the most like ter- terrible, horrific things that happened in my life. He like stole from my brother. He just went on. He went on to become what some may consider to be like a bad person. But I don't view that as my dad. I view that as someone else because of the alcohol. Right. Looking back, in that moment, obviously, I was too emotional to differentiate what was going on, but it hurt me a lot. Anyway, I adopted some of them behaviors, especially like that heavy drinking to handle to like to get by. Right. I don't want to come across like I'm like reached this kind of like self actualization that I don't no longer have vices and stuff. But I want you to realize at that stage of my life, alcohol was a big masking agent for a lot of the things going right or wrong in my life, right? And as I said, my earliest memory was my dad. I learned, or I believe some of my relationship with alcohol somewhat stemmed from him. And then I went on like maybe like I drank for like 15 years, mid to late teens, my 20s. I probably didn't go more than maybe like a week without drinking alcohol. But at no point I consider myself an alcoholic. And I don't think I was an alcoholic, but my relationship was with alcohol was devastating, right? In terms of like the negative effects, in the moment, I didn't see them other than a headache, right? But looking back, being entirely reflective in retrospect, wow, wow, devastating. At the time, I couldn't correlate the negative things going on in my life and seeing how much alcohol had an influence from relationships to finances to mental health to performance, like physical and mental performance. It was just terrible. Like some examples of like football, right? Obviously, at the time, mid 20s, I was playing professional football. I would drink every weekend, right? Win, celebrate, drink. Lose, commiserate, drink, right? And I would still be in a pretty bad kind of place physically come Monday. I know some people might be like, that's extreme, but my tolerance for alcohol and recovery wasn't probably like yours. Many a times, Monday, Tuesday, I would still have this grey fog in my head, and it was a very fucking difficult thing to remove, you know. Did I discuss it at the time? Did I talk about it? Absolutely not, man. I felt weak. I thought that was like, nah, man, because there was a lot of like peer pressure in terms of banter and stuff like that, in regards to not bullying, but in regards to like masculinity and being able to handle your drink and not really fucking wanting to look like like on a Monday you was like you didn't want to come into the dressing room saying, or you didn't want to go into work saying, oh shit man, I don't feel my best today. But that's a whole nother story, right? But yeah, alcohol affected me heavily. Some big instances in my life where it fucking tore apart my world in that moment. Do I care to share them? I've shared some of them before on socials, but some of them things are so involve other people, man. And like where I behaved so ill, so poorly, it, would I mind sharing them? Maybe not. But where it involves someone else, man, that I'm very mindful of like, it's not just personal to me, then it's personal to someone else. But I ruined people's lives in that moment, and probably long term, probably long term. Some people developed insecurities. I've hurt people physically. That I'm not an angel, right? But that's me, right? I'm gonna now, because I work with men, I'm gonna now talk to you a little bit about alcohol, right? And how I see it affecting men. So, like, what you may see, my one might seem quite extreme or quite small to you, right? Depending on where you're at and your relationship with alcohol. But I think one of the things that we don't realize is that you don't have to be an alcoholic. You don't have to be drinking day to day. You don't have to be like living on the side of the street and fucking in tatters to be an alcoholic, to have a bad relationship with it. As I said, I was drinking week to week, and it was the binge drinking, the excessive drinking, and the behaviors that came with it and after it. And this is what I see in a lot of men today. So if you're listening to this, this is what this piece of content's for you. If you find yourself, right, making bad decisions on alcohol, right? You're not an alcoholic, but you have a bad relationship with it. Uh, Buying A-class drugs on alcohol, right? Buying A-class drugs on alcohol. If you find the connection, that alcohol is a gateway to more drugs, fucking, you have a bad relationship. Not being able to say no, right? Drinking, drinking leading to violence, whether it's maybe not just physical, maybe like verbal. Like, if drinking changes your character to something negative, you've got a problem. If drinking affects your relationships, you have a problem negatively. Like your children, if you become moody and more aggressive, like stop. Like stop. You have to address this. This is it's I live in the UK, right? So culturally, alcohol is somewhat embedded into, it's a bit of an excuse, but alcohol is there, isn't it? Like it is, it's kind of what we do, right? But I don't think people actually deep it, right? That there's a behavior pattern outside the actual alcohol consumption, and that gleeful feeling that you may experience from 2 drinks to 4 drinks. But 4 drinks to 8 drinks, you're a fucking nightmare. 8 drinks to 12 drinks, you've spent too much and you're arguing and you're waking up in the morning and you're not optimizing yourself in your household, and you're grumpy because you've overspent and you're fucking, I don't know, now you're watching porn, and I don't know. Like I'm just putting two and two together because I see society. I speak to men daily. So alcohol, is it the devil in disguise? I'm gonna put my neck on the line here and say yes. Alcohol is a very dangerous substance. Alcohol, I believe, in our current society, is worse, is a bigger problem for our society than the majority of other drugs. Does it have a direct direct impact on the individual taking it, as to say crack cocaine, meth, or I don't know, cocaine? I'm not sure. Obviously, I've not took them drugs, right? What I'm saying to you, as our society, if you went to a fucking hospital, an emergency room on a Friday, Saturday night, there would be a lot of people there as a result of drunken behavior. There'd be a lot of domestic violence and all these things. I think alcohol. I think alcohol. I think it's the devil. Only joking, but listen, if you can drink in moderation and it doesn't cause you to act in a negative way, hallelujah. But if you see any of these things that I see creeping up, that I saw creeping up in me, put it to bed. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. Should I keep these